Salam alaikum, and thank you, World Football Summit, for having us. For me personally, it's my third decision in Saudi, Jeddah, Riyadh, and the second time in Riyadh. So grateful for that. We are very early, so we thought that we would start with a more informal conversation before digging into the panel, because we will have some time here together. And it's a pleasure to be sharing the stage with you guys. So, I would start just by asking you, Steve, who are you? Tell a bit more about your career, what you have done so far. Sorry, Steve here. Mikkel and Steve, I think you both can just start with just telling about yourself, how you got to this stage of your lives, and then speak and tell a little bit about your company.
Right. Yeah, thank you very much. We're really pleased to be here. Hang on, wants to swap us around. Go on. So we're underneath our names. There you go. So Steve Nott-Macaire, Fortress GB. We're a sports tech organisation. We've been in the industry for over 25 years now. I'm the VP of Sales and Strategy. We work with over 180 clubs worldwide, providing the technology, the solutions to help them run their stadiums, drive revenues, innovate new technologies, and obviously help to strategize their journey and their fan journey. That's the key piece here, is how we help the teams with their fan journey from physical to digital, back to physical, where we can reward them at every touch point. So that's kind of who we are, what we do, and we work very closely with my great partners here in NewC, and I'll let Mikkel touch on what he does.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, my name is Mikkel. I've been working with the football industry for basically 2 decades now. And I think I'm called to working in the football industry because it connects humans in a way that I did not see in other industries. So I ended up here, and it's not a good business decision because the revenue streams in football is not as big as in other industries. But it just feels like you connect more with the world and people when you do that. So I think we are a company driven out of passion, and now we also have this possibility to actually bring new things to the market that is very revenue driven, but it basically happened by sort of coincidence. Maybe I should say thank you to the World Summit Football here, because it's the first time I'm here. So thank you very much for a great exhibition here, and also for the city of Riyadh. Also my first time here. It is a very, very pleasant experience being here.
So first time of many, we hope. And this event is very special because we do have a large variety of people, executives, club reps, agents, people that want to start working with football, people that have been working with football for 2 decades, for example, and all the nationalities we can imagine. So we are now in Saudi, reunited all of us to discuss the industry and see the best solutions for everyone. So how would you, Steve, describe the importance of the Saudi Arabian market, for example, to get the best advantage of Fortress?
I think this is maybe my 5th or 6th time here now, and each time I come back, the football industry here has grown, the fan base is growing, and the key thing I think really for the region is the fact that it's not obviously a new league, but it's a new league to the eyes of the world. And I think the fact of Fortress, we've been working with major brands, the Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49ers, Arsenal, Tottenham, Wembley, you name it, around the world, is the fact that we can bring the learnings, the technologies to the region, but also the beauty I see here, Camilla, of this region is that they're very much tech savvy and very innovative, so we can actually look to drive and create new technologies and new fan journeys, especially as the fan base here, as you've seen, is very young, which is great. So you can actually mould the fan base, and with technologies, you can really then help the clubs, the league, the federation to drive the message of the power of Saudi Arabia and the kingdom, but also helping the teams, the leagues, to drive and create new revenue streams that's only going to help them get bigger and the teams get bigger and really maximize the opportunity here in Saudi Arabia.
Amazing, exactly. Mikkel, I throw the same question to you. Yeah, I throw the same question. So what do you think, how will the Saudi Arabian market benefit the most from NewC?
I think we can point towards that. Me and Steve basically just arrived back from Brazil. Very recently, but we have this opportunity to work with different countries, different football clubs with a long history of football. Now we are looking here at Saudi, where there is a new time. There is 8 years to get to this goal line, and we can bring the best of the best from many places in the world. And to be here, it feels like this huge place where we can, like a fun fair for us, because we have been in this industry for such a long time, been working with clubs that are very, very old, and we need to take care of these brands in the best way possible. But now we are here where everything starts to happening now, and right away bringing the best the world can give to this stage here is it feels like a game, and it's a fun game.
I agree. It's a shame, though, they were in Brazil without me, as I'm a Brazilian football executive. But yes, I do agree. And to be very honest, I don't think we've seen a professional football league grow so fast as the Saudi Pro League have been growing for the past months, not even years, of course. The booming came with the big stars 2-3 years ago. But especially in tech and innovation now, it's faster than ever. And I have a personal interesting thing I would like to share with you, which actually is an episode with the NewC. When I worked for São Paulo FC 2021, and I was headed the international department of the club, I was talking to NewC for them to implement, of course, all the services for our club, as they were working with a rival already, which is Palmeiras, and still a client, right?
Yep.
Exactly. And the technology and the monetization and all of that is a huge benefit for the clubs. And the Saudi Arabian culture burns for football. They love football. And we do have something here which is very unique comparing to the countries, to the neighbor countries, which are the fans and the amount of people that actually attend the games. So back to you, Steve. How do you think, I mean, of course, we do have the fan base, especially if we look at the bigger clubs in Jeddah and here, and now Al Qadsiya with a great performance the past season. But how do you think that through Fortress and also through NewC, how do you guys think that the clubs and the league could encourage more fans and more people to attend even the smaller, let's say, club games?
Yeah, no, totally. So, you know, what we do with a lot of teams around the world is we create their fan engagement. We provide them with a fan engagement program that really is there to drive new fans, new members to the clubs, but also to make sure that the current fan base, current season ticket base are attending games. So we're always creating, if you like, a reward stroke loyalty program that's fully integrated into access control, into F&B, into retail, into the digital space as well. So what we're doing is we're encouraging, incentivizing, rewarding the fans at every touch point they have with the club or the league across the whole of their ecosystem, both physical and digital. And with that, you're creating new ticketing products, new ticketing packages that's driving fans to come. So, for example, with our loaded value, our in-venue payment solution, it allows a team to create, for example, where you touched on there, that the game's not sold out. Instead of typically where teams used to give free tickets away, that's now something of the past, where now it's creating a new product. It's if you buy the ticket today, we are automatically going to load, for example, 20 SAR or whatever to your ticket. We're going to load a free hot dog. We're going to load a free Diet Coke to your ticket. And it's all with the integration with the POS systems. It's all then, and we link your payment card to your ticket as well. And it's all done seamlessly, touched at the F&B, redeems your free Diet Coke, your free hot dog, using that money that the club's put on there, which the club knows if it's, for example, 50 SAR, it's not 50 SAR because they know what 50 SAR cost is in their venue. So it's creating a new way of incentivizing fans to come to the games. But also by doing that, you're driving the in-venue spend as well. So I think that's a key thing here that we can really bring to drive, but also to create new fan bases as well within the region.
Mikkel, please, some words.
Yeah, I'm still stuck with this. We had a conversation because you were working for São Paulo, and excuse my Portuguese is not that good, but meu primeiro amor do Brasil, Palmeiras. It means that my first love in Brazil is Palmeiras. So it was, but it actually, it's funny to look at it like this because Palmeiras has a good governance in a club, and it's not maybe as obvious that not all clubs has transitioned into a company that is very professional. It's still very good clubs in Brazil, but it's very organized in Palmeiras. And what we see in Saudi, and also what I can see here, is that it's very well organized. And what is maybe a little frustrating when we were talking back in 2021, I think?
2021, yes.
Exactly, is that we basically have a blueprint. It's a blueprint of how to make money to a club and also how to make sure that the experience being a fan or sponsor or somebody working with systems, having a big responsibility, that they have the best possible experience doing that. That's a big responsibility that we see, and we have a blueprint, and we want to give it to as many as possible. And so when we were talking to your club at that time, it's actually difficult for a club to see this and engage into it because of various reasons of how a football club is driven today. So what we see in Saudi here is it's very organized, it's very driven with a purpose, with everybody engaging and following that line. And that means you can create incredible results here, and you've already done it in such a short time. And it calls for people like, I think, us to simply come and see what can we do here, because it looks fun.
Definitely, especially because we are all working in a very multicultural industry. So when you go to a new country, you have to understand how that country actually works and the traditions and all of that. And now we have 3 different nationalities here on stage and probably 20 different ones here. And I do agree, when you're talking or dealing with a club, we do have a very well-established governance. You will have one type of conversation and must probably succeed on not only closing the deal, but making sure both sides are very happy and satisfied. And here in Saudi, what is very different and also fascinating, if we understand how fast they are doing it, is that they do have an alignment. So it's not that a club can do whatever they want and another one do whatever they want. I mean, internally on signing players, that's a different story. But in the big picture, they do have to follow the big alignment. And also not only according to the Saudi Vision 2030, but as well as the common goal all of them have. So that's very important. But I would like to ask, this is a question that is similar to this previous one, but to dig in a little bit deeper before we officially start the panel, which is actually in just 2 minutes. Let's say you're approaching a club with no fan base, either because it's a new project or a very small club that might, I don't know, have a very, very small fan base. How would the approach be comparing to the big ones? We have now talked about São Paulo, Palmeiras. We can be here and talk about the 4 PIF clubs, but what about the smaller clubs? What's the difference in the approach?
Yeah, I think it's obviously a very difficult question to answer, but also a very good question to answer. So, you know, the way that we've helped teams, especially smaller teams, as you touched on there, or new teams that are coming in, especially in the MLS, where we work with a lot of teams in the MLS and where they're bringing new franchise in. It's slightly different because obviously a new franchise is usually a new city in the US. But again, as you'll know, in the US, they're competing against 5 or 6 other sports which are already mature, and they've got big teams. So what we do is we help them create the narrative, we help them create the value proposition of why you should become, come to the venue, come to the stadium, and then really help them to create and drive the database. So build that database, coming up with new ways of engaging with that audience. Obviously, social media is a very, very easy start, but it's then how do you then convert that fan into a fan inside the stadium. So again, it's creating that physical and digital piece, and the other way around as well, bringing it together, and then really creating personalized communications is the key one. Really understanding that fan, understanding what that fan does at every touch point they have with the venue, with the digital space, and then being able to communicate and personalize a message to that fan. And what that's doing is creating passion from the fan perspective there, creating the fan, I don't like the word, but we have to use it, FOMO, that if they don't come, they're going to miss out. And we did this with the Philadelphia Union in America, where they had an 18,000 capacity stadium when they started. And they had 10,000 fans, which is great, but 8,000 missing. So what we did is with the loyalty, we created a loyalty program, we created a fan engagement program, and along the way, we created new gimmicks, if you like. We created new gamification, we created new content within the platform. And what it did was then created that fear of missing out, that if they didn't go to the venue, they were going to miss out on some of the key stuff. And each year it grew by two, and now they sell out every single game. So it's creating that new value proposition, creating why should I be that fan, what do I get? And once you've got them hooked, they're not going anywhere. As you know very well, passionate of being a Brazilian, obviously probably the most passionate fans in the world, close to the Argentinians. Javier in the audience there. It's once you've got them, they're never leaving you. So that's the key thing, is to catch them, to get them, to grow them, they stay. And that's all around incentives and rewards and those behaviours you want to do.
For us, it's the question here is how to engage with different clubs. And normally you go into a club or a company and you look for the strategy and you do all these things, and we basically just missed that step. And then every time we engage in a club or in a situation, or we need to do something, we look at what is it in front of us, what is we need to do, and how can we help a club. And we do understand how precious the goodwill of a club is. That's the brand. It's everything there. So when we engaged, we are all in. So I mean, the process for us is the same if it's a big or small club, or if it's a league, whatever it is. We need to sort of get to know whoever we're dealing with. We use a lot of time consulting, so we understand that we can see exactly the same picture. What is in front of us as a team handling? And then when we understand that, we unleash everybody, all the real experts like Steve and his team. We had a great case with us here today from Brazil. That is a proof of how we do it. Basically, we form what we call a sort of a high-performance team. That is, will be the right persons to deal with exactly that situation that needs to be handled, because you cannot predict that when you start a cooperation on a strategic level with a club. You simply do not know what tomorrow will bring. One thing is for sure, you need to be ready. And then for us as a strategic partner, it doesn't come down to a business case that if it's worth it doing because of a revenue. It has to be because we can use this story and because it's so much fun being part of whatever is in front of us together. So our process is the same, and we do a lot of work in the consultancy in the beginning, so we are aligned in what we see and therefore also on what we do afterwards. And then the big mystery is what's going to happen during this journey we have with a club. We never know.
Perfect. And now with the real start of our panel, as I see more people have arrived as well, we were having a bit more of an informal chat. So welcome everyone, ahla wa sahlan. Thank you very much for having us again. And I would like to start with 1 minute from each of you, very short, just to quickly tell about who you are and a little bit of the company, because I see we are having club representatives here as well, so this is a very good chance. So please, now starting with Mikkel.
Yeah, my name is Mikkel Scou. I'm the founder and CEO of NewC Sport. Been working for about 2 decades with football globally. And yeah, now we are in Saudi to show what we have done other places in the world. And the good thing here is that when we see what we really have done, it's guys like Steve and his team that can actually showcase this in a level that you can see it's best of the best in the world, that what we have done.
Thank you very much. Steve Nott-Macaire here. I'm VP of Sales and Strategy at Fortress GB. We're a sports tech organisation. We work with close to 200 clubs worldwide, provided them with their stadium technology, their fan engagement technology, and we're always bringing new innovative ways to engage with the fan base to enhance the operations of the venue. And then the big one, obviously, is to help teams, revenues, and venues to drive new revenues and also increase their current revenues.
Great. And we do have a video we would like to show you. So please, if you could play on that.
So just to set the scene, guys, this is a video. This is a video from a project we've just done in Brazil with Atlético Mineiro, and it's the first full stadium of biometric scanning. And I think this is very prevalent for this region, with how the region really embraces technology. And I really see this being revolutionary for this region and for the kingdom, especially with obviously 2034 and the vision of 2030. Obviously, I think this just highlights what we're here to kind of talk about today and a little bit more, obviously.
Atenção, torcedor. A entrada é feita pelo reconhecimento facial. Em caso de dificuldade, use o QR Code no Super App.
O que você achou da biometria aqui no estádio?
Foi muito tranquilo, é a minha primeira vez.
Maybe Camilla
e
can
foi
translate
muito
for you.
fácil. E é muito escuro, né? Ajuda muito na hora de entrar, fica mais tranquilo.
So basically, what we asked to the Atlético Mineiro fans was, how do you think about the new technology and about the new biometric entrance? And they love it because it's much smoother and it's much easier to get in, no complications. And I can tell, I mean, if you check the stadiums in Brazil or wherever you go in the world that doesn't have this way to facilitate your entry, you might be struggling. So that's huge. And a little bit more onto the fans' journey, I would like to ask you guys, starting with Steve, what will be the next major evolution in stadium access over the next 5 years?
I think you just watched it. So it's definitely biometrics, but I think the next big thing that we are doing now, and we're also bringing, is now we're linking your payment card to your face. We're linking your payment card also to a rotating barcode that actually sits inside your club app, your venue app, and it now allows you seamlessly to get in the venue, to pay in your venue, to get rewarded from payment with integrating with your F&B, with your retail, and using again that rotating barcode or your face, depending on the venue, to then go and redeem that at every touch point as well. So it's creating that full 360-degree view of a fan via just having that single unique digital identifier, which typically used to be ticketing, but now it's your face or it's a rotating barcode that we link all your ticketing to. So if you're a venue, you've got a season ticket holder, you've got concerts, whatever you may be, you just have that one single identifier that all of your tickets are linked to, your payments are linked to, your loyalty is linked to, and I think that's where we're going, and that's where we see this region, the kingdom, really being able to really identify with that.
Of course, and Mikkel, will the QR code still be there together with the biometrics in case the facial is not working? What is the plan B when the fans are so excited to enter the stadium?
Exactly. What is the plan B? What is the plan C? And you can keep going. There's a lot of different plans, and we don't come here with saying that every club needs to do exactly this and this and this. It has to be, technology has to be open for a club, and then in any given situation, in terms of what your audience are, it should be available in the most convenient way. So we don't say that things needs to be done. It just has to be convenient, and then it has to be aligned with what it is that a club is offering of entertainment. So, but I think I get this question a lot about the return of investment when we do stuff like that, and just adding a little bit because we see so much new technology all the time. What's interesting for me working with football clubs is that the return of investment in these cases are linked together with us because we invest in these things together with a club. So whenever things shows up, we are a partner to a club. We saw it in Cam here, where we basically, maybe I shouldn't say this out loud here, but we took a contract with the club on basically a high five, saying let's do this because this situation you saw here was tough. This is the worst situation you can bring a club to. Club owners, stadium, if you are not familiar with Brazilian football, Cam has a stadium, MRV Stadium, which is the best stadium built, the only stadium built in recent time in Brazil after the World Cup, and suddenly everything falls together. So how do you act when everything doesn't go accordingly to plan? This is it's really interesting for people and for companies like us, is to engage in that. Because this is the real adventure, how to solve these really difficult situations. And then we talk about the return of investments. We want to be part of that together with the club. So it's not just only investments doing this, it's innovation, how to drive more experience and how to drive more revenue. It's all seen through these two things when we do something. So yeah, 5 years in the future, I mean, I just been presented what the plans are in Saudi, and I still don't understand this is possible, but I can see that you are taking the path here, that it's durable if you go along like you do at the moment, and it is, for me, it's just interesting to looking at.
Yeah, and I can attest that because I remember when NewC came to São Paulo, it literally felt like a high five because it's so easy how they approach and they literally come with a solution to the club. So saying no to this kind of solutions, which is the best word actually to call the service, it isn't a good idea. And Atlético Mineiro have been doing great in Brazil, along with Palmeiras too, on that. And also what you guys mentioned in the beginning of the panel, that you do need the right team in place, not only for your companies, but as well as in the institutions, the leagues, the federations, the clubs?
Yeah, can I just touch on that? Because
Of
I think,
course.
especially with now we have Steve here, and I have the possibility to put him in a good light. Because what the club is calling for in a situation like that is the world experts, not the second one, not the ones that can do a nice presentation, but the ones who have done it before. And all clubs go through this. Sometimes it's everything on the table, and you just need to perform. That calls for people has been with experience, have been doing this before. And NewC was in a position, Fortus was in a position, they could just say, all hands on deck, let's do this one. Because this one is setting now the mark of the most advanced technology at stadiums around how to let people in and out in a secure, nice way, that on top of that is bringing in new revenue streams now that we have the trust, that we have spent time, money on doing this, and now we can start tweaking on how to use this technology to drive more revenue and get the experience out there. That's the real beauty, that's the treasure here for us.
Definitely. And on to fan engagement and loyalty, Steve, I would like to ask you, what actually works when turning fan engagement into revenue, into real revenue for the clubs?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think what we're seeing now with fan engagement and loyalty is moving away from your traditional points, tiers, earning points for this, and this. It's now moving to real time. So it's the ability to be able to, when you come into the venue, you scan on the reader, automatically you receive a message straight via integration with the app, for example, that you are the 150th person that scanned in today. Here is a reward on us. It's real time. You can then go and do that. Even to the fact where, we've just done something recently where you touch on revenue generation. So it now allows the teams to really create better and greater sponsorship and partnership opportunities. So where now with the sponsors and the partners, you can really bring them in closer to your fan base. So for example, with a team in the UK, we did it with Guinness just recently. With our screen technology, where it's our access control readers, basically you can put a sponsor on there, you can put an activation on there, you can put a partner on there as you come up. And when you walked up to the screen, probably a bad example because of the region we're in. So let's do the one in the US. That basically it was a hot dog turning around on the screen. Okay, and that day alone, this was an MLB team. That day alone, the increase in purchase of hot dogs went up 30% because the fan came in and were like, "Oh yeah, I really fancy a hot dog now," and it drove them to go and buy it. So, but that was powered by a partner, powered by obviously the sponsor, but the fan got something in real time. So again, it created another generation point of view. But then the other key areas are, especially from a loyalty perspective, is the new members, the entry-level membership. What we're doing is a lot of teams have your typical traditional season ticket holder and a quite expensive membership. What we're doing is creating a program where we bring the masses in as well. So you create a free membership, and then you create an entry-level membership. So with the Montreal Canadiens in North America and Canada, they've now got 900,000 people in their loyalty program. In the first year alone, it raised each commercial partnership deal by 30% because they had 80,000 people in their database, and in the first year we got it to 450,000. Doesn't matter if they're paid or if they're free, because to a brand, they have the activation opportunities. So what we're doing is providing the teams with the new way of doing fan engagement, new way of doing loyalty, and it's driving real revenues for the venues and the teams.
Can I, adding to that is, I mean, we have a catalog of so many great ideas that has been working different places in the world, and it's just implement them right away. We can do that in many clubs, but a key thing here is how to help a club being coherent about what is the core narrative, how does the club owners, how does the management actually view the club, and how does that story resonate with everybody involved with that club. When you get that, when that is coherent, it's kind of simple to put in these things Steve are talking about now, and they will resonate. But the real thing here is also to make the club owners and management aware about that the core narrative of the club needs to be given to the people, because they will resonate in it. And this is where the real strong case will happen.
And Mikkel, how should loyalty in football differ from the loyalty models used in airlines, hotels, or retail?
Well, it's very difficult always when you have to take something and say this works in all clubs, in all industries like that. So it has to be seen by case, but I can say one thing is we cannot take things from other industries and just implement it right away. It doesn't work. We simply need to have, and this is what's also interesting by working in football, it's a special place where systems sometimes are very disconnected and you don't have a coherent IT environment. So we need to understand that all these new concepts showing up, like dynamic pricing, we cannot just take what the airlines are doing one-to-one and do it, but we can see there is something going on, there is a stream, and we need to interpretate that into football and see how does that work in here. So it requires a little bit of tweaking and twisting, and it is, systems needs to be ready to do that. So for us, it has to be that we need to show so much flexibility on behalf of the clubs. So all things we are pointing towards in a end solution where they have a lot of different systems working together. We simply need to make sure that that it's an okay, that the vendor, the system, everything is ready. And we've been spending 2 decades now, with a lot of different systems. But now we have something that can just be implemented. And coming from 9 different countries, tropicalizing, because we always need to tropicalize something. There's also something different about how the payment system, banks, how you validate different user and persons. So everything is always new and exciting for us to dig into.
I think the key point here is how do we make it different to an airline? And that's what I touched on there, real-time activations. Because as you'll know, in airline loyalty programs, you get your points after you've flown. Or now, with the way we do loyalty, is real-time activations. The fans get it real-time. Soon as they've done something, they get rewarded. And that drives additional spend on a match day inside the venue. It drives additional engagement. If they're a global fan, that's just as important. So the fan sitting inside the stadium for a club, is just as important as a fan sitting outside, sitting in a bar, that they can be rewarded in real time on every touch point they have. And I think that's the difference here. We, as an industry, make it real time, where the other loyalty programs in other industries is very static and after the event.
And sorry to
yes,
take your time,
course.
I'm just going to add a little bit, because I think this is interesting, because when I look at why the airline industry are using this dynamic pricing, it's simply about, how to make more money on that airplane, and then as soon as you got sold these tickets, the prices go up and up and up. No clubs will succeed doing that when a fan feels like we are squeezing them for every single money all the time. It doesn't resonate. You cannot just do that, but you can do similar things that are equivalent to doing that. So you can segment and you can do a lot of different things. So you basically have a stadium that you need to work a lot with. But you cannot just take this one as the airline industry is doing, because it's too revenue driven and it simply do not resonate with what people are paying for an experience.
Exactly, and I think that I'm pretty sure that the fans thinks that they need to gain something as well, that they are part of the clubs. So I have one question each, and Steve, another critical part of the experience is spending, so payments and cashless environments. So what truly drives increased revenue in cashless or integrated payment environments?
Yeah, so we've got probably 30 plus clubs around the world using our in-stadium payment solution. And what that is, the way we built it and the way we work with the teams is to drive increase in revenue spend. So what you're doing is you're not asking a fan to spend more, you're rewarding the fan at every spend. So for example, they're getting cash back. We link their payment card to their ticket or to their fan app. Then they use that to spend, and it's all integrated in the app, in the F&B. But every time you spend, you get cash back, for example. It's not a discount, it's cash back onto the card that can only be spent back inside the venue. So the beauty of this is you can also load credit to that fan. So you could, for example, one of the incentives might be if you come in 45 minutes early today, we're going to load 100 SAR to your ticket. You know 100 SAR is not 100 SAR. You know what the cost value is in your venue. But to the fan, the perceived value is 100 SAR. So they then see, well, actually, I'm going to spend more now because I've got that 100 SAR. And what we're seeing is, especially in the US, 3 times the value of per cap is being spent now. We're seeing between 15 and 25% increase in in-stadium revenue. One team, by using this method, went from $6 million last year in F&B to $9 million. And that's just purely by incentivizing what they're currently doing. Not telling them to spend more, just we want to reward you for what you're doing. But by doing that, they're spending more. They're increasing their basket value, but also by making it automated, where with our solution, you can load product to a ticket. So for example, you could buy a ticket and have a free hot dog on the ticket, or have a free Coke on the ticket, a free coffee on the ticket, which means that person comes in, we're likely to buy another one. We'll buy another one. So you're again driving revenues every time. And that's a key part with having that in-venue solution, that it allows you to create events, create new product types, but the key one is to get more spend from fans.
Exactly. And Mikkel, is a fully cashless stadium realistic today? Or does it still depend on the fan culture and the country itself?
If I was a football club only concerned about driving revenue, it would be cashless from day one, because it brings simply you spend more. But Steve is touching on some so important things here, is that they will never, shouldn't be the only driver from a football club. The thing here is to extend the experience from coming to a football game. And when by doing cashless, we have so many opportunities to use live transactions to do something else. So we can actually drive people to quickly, if they don't show up to a game, release your ticket and put it into a waiting list where they just buy it right away. And then we give loyalty points for that behavior. And by doing these sort of tweaks and twists all the time with our clubs, we've seen in Allianz Park in Sao Paulo that they have the highest attendance rate on tickets that is so way beyond league standards, because they all the time can sit and tweak and twist a little bit. The purpose is not to bring cashless stadiums, it's to enhance the experience. And then the beauty thing is, on top of that, they also make a lot of money doing it.
And Steve, a short answer on this question.
Yep.
What is the most underestimated data points clubs already have but they rarely use?
So I'm going to slightly change that. It's what are the key data points that they don't have that they can easily have. So what we do with because we're touching on the payments piece here,
Yes.
is that with, like I said, the payment solution we touched on, because we've got the full integration with the F&B and retail, they're now getting individual itemized data. So they know exactly what a fan is buying or exactly what a fan isn't buying. And now with our AI reporting tools and campaign manager, you can now personalize real time with integration with the app that, for example, you know that for example, Camilla has not brought an away shirt yet because we have that data now. We push the communication out before, as she's coming up to the stadium. If you buy a away shirt today, we're gonna put 50 SAR onto your stadium card to spend on us today. Instead of saying we're going to give you 50% off or 30% off, which is profit. So that's the key thing, I think, that teams, venues are not doing properly at the moment. Some teams are, don't get me wrong, but is actually personalizing the communication to a fan, not just pushing out an email communication to loads of fans that might not resonate. It's creating that personalized communication that resonates with that fan will then go and do that transaction.
Interesting.
That was a very short answer to your question.
I do have a similar one, but a different one to you, Mikkel, which is how can clubs turn raw fan data into practical decisions without needing a large analytics team? So how can the clubs run the raw data into practical decisions without needing a large analytics team? Because usually the clubs might think that, oh, we do have a team to do that. But no. It's about one person or actually teaming up with you guys.
See, the thing is that we spend a lot of time consulting a club. That means that we understand where a club wants to get to, and then we try to automate we not try to, we automate. We show them how to automate stuff. So there will be, everybody knows this, there's something before the game, there's something under the game, there's something after the game. All of these flows is just automated. So when you get like some information into your system and we can decode it with all information owned and driven by the club, but of course we help to make that machine work, then everything happens automatically. And now we are starting to see that we can sort of predict revenue streams with automating stuff a long way in the future. So, I mean, for me, which I really have not the knowledge that Steve has here, for me it's just happening. But I know there's a lot of tweak and twist behind this.
It's real time. It's real time activations. That's what it is. It's triggers on data. So every time a trigger's done, it automatically sends out a communication. Because it's all integrated with your data lake and integrated with your marketing automation platform.
And we have the consultants' capability to help the club understand what needs to be done. Because sometimes the club really don't know, and they need somebody with the experience of what has been done before, because all clubs, they will come up with maybe great ideas, but also some maybe ideas that are not that great because it doesn't work because of various reasons that we actually know. So we can consult them and then make sure that they have the right path.
All right, and to round up, I mean, this conversation for me was so amazing because, I mean, having working on the club side and the federation side and knowing the quality of your work is amazing, and just knowing how much that fits to Saudi. I would like to hear from both of you before we close this panel. In one sentence, who is the fan, Steve, of 2030?
The connected fan.
Again?
The connected fan.
The connected fan. Mikkel?
Happy fan.
Again?
A happy fan.
A happy fan. Well, thank you so much for your time and for listening to us. I really hope you guys have a chance to catch up with these two after the panel, because it's definitely worth it. And thank you so much for having us. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to our guests. Their transformation of smart